It's your boy, Sergeant Hooked on Heroes, and holy fuck, I can actually say that I've seen Shin Kamen Rider. This is a pretty big moment. I want to preface because we are going to review this and talk about it. There'll definitely be spoilers later, so don't click off just yet. About, we'll say, I don't know, 4 maybe 5 minutes in, somewhere around there. I'll try to keep it spoiler free till then, and then I'm going to dive balls deep in. It was a fucking experience, let me tell you. So when they originally, not really announced, people knew it was a thing because they found a fluke in the system that showed showings of it coming to America, right? And then when it officially was announced and we were getting it to like where you could filter it to your, your area code or your zip code, whatever, I kind of lost hope a little bit. Nothing came up at first. Another day or two went by, I checked, and then it was like a place 3 hours away, and I was like, I love Kamen Rider, but I don't know if I know Kamen Rider enough that I can go 3 hours away, watch a movie, and then have a 3 hour drive, to watch a 2 hour movie, then have a 3 hour drive back. Like, that's a lot, But I remember the day I was at work, and on a fluke, I'm like, I'll just look again, and I typed it in, blah, blah, and it said Phoenix Theaters. I'm like, wait a minute, I know that theater. I live near a town called Grand Rapids here in Michigan. And I was like, wait a minute. I looked and it said Grand Rapids, and I was like, I remember when it happened, my people at work, my employees were like, other employees were like, all right, Zach, are you okay? I'm like, I'm good. It's good. I'm fine. And I was in the middle of doing work stuff, and I was driving, and I called my wife, and I was like, Hannah, oh my God, Shin Kamen Rider, the thing that I told you about? She goes, yeah. She's like, it's coming to America, English subtitles. Now it's not just in the city that I said it was really far away. Now it's going to be in Grand Rapids. Oh my God, would you be fine if I went with Tyler? She goes, yeah, please do it, and calm down. Don't pull over or something. So that day, like April, whatever it was, I bought my tickets way the hell in advance. Had it all set, all good. Got close to the day, I had the whole day off. I dropped my kids off at daycare, went to Grand Rapids, hung out with my best friend in the entire world, Tyler. Shout out Dovakich if you're watching this review. It was a goddamn-tastic experience. And it was, I think what was most fun about it was, like, I had my own fun being a Rider fan and understanding the references and things, because all, about Ichigo and just Rider in general, right? But he also had a lot of fun with it, even though most of his background and any of these things is the bits and pieces of episodes I've shown him of things, and like Henshin videos and Sentai Change videos, and mainly Power Rangers. He's down for the cause though, because my man bought 01 on Blu-ray, and so like he's trying to help support that for Rider in the West and everything. It's still in its fucking shrink wrap, and he hasn't opened it to watch it, but he has trouble sometimes starting to watch new shows and blah blah blah, and I get it. But if you're watching this, Dovakich, Tyler, you better fucking start watching that shit. Anyway, so it was a great experience for that. I brought my Desire driver with me, and I was too embarrassed to wear it like in the mall the whole time. That there was like a mall right by the theater. But at one point, I was carrying it with me because it was way the hell too hot outside, so I didn't want to bring it back to the car and it like malfunction and melt in there. But I did have somebody come up and be like, "Hey, dude, what driver are you bringing to the movie today?" I'm like, "Are you guys going to Shin Kamen Rider?" They're like, "Yeah, we are." Like, what driver is this? I'm like, "Oh, it's the Desire driver." "Oh, cool, dude." And then he walked away and was super excited. And that was really cool. My friend Tyler actually mentioned, wouldn't it be like absolutely insane if somebody like recognized me from the podcast? It didn't happen, but it would have been cool. But this movie is pretty great. I know I said like 4 or 5 minutes in. Let's move it up to like 8 or 9 minutes because I got some stuff to talk about. This is a fantastic film. You definitely feel director Hideaki Anno's pure, unadulterated love and childlike, wondrous adoration for Rider. You really, really do. Specifically for Ichigo, for the original 1971 Kamen Rider series, which is available in lots of places. If you know, you know. Internet stuff. Clearly, Tubi has it where you can choose whatever episode you want to watch whenever you want. You go whatever order you want to. More on-demand type. Sometimes they play it on Tokusatsu here and there. So you can definitely get that. I hope that's the next physical release, honestly, because I would shit myself if it was. But this movie is awesome. This movie is so well done. And I really liked pretty much the entire thing. I do have some negatives I'm going to get into a little bit later when we get into spoiler type stuff. But overall, I loved my experience. My experience with it was so great. Personally, for us, something that happened was, I guess management tried to do some weird zooming thing, or they were trying to zoom it in a way that you could see most of the subtitles, but it would cut off like like this much of the top of the screen. And me and my friend Tyler, my friend Tyler was like a huge like film buff and film nut. So he instantly was like, is it really zoomed in for you? I'm like, yeah, I don't know why. Maybe it's like the style or something like that. And we kept noticing. We're like, told somebody, manager came in, he was really nice about it. He goes, hey guys, I paused it. I'm really sorry about that. But, I was just trying to zoom it the right way so you guys could see most of the subtitles and not have it cut off at all. So I guess what is the consensus, to leave it like that or to make it so that it's not so zoomed in, we can see the whole top part of the film and the subtitles are a little bit cut off. And we were like, that way. And he's like, okay. And he was really nice about it. He's like, sorry about all that. We're like, no problem, thank you. And we clapped and everything was good. And it's funny he even said that about being able to read the subtitles. I wanted to be like, bro, come here, man. Come here. But I've been watching this shit for like a decade of my life by this point, a little bit longer. Some odd change, I don't need any help to see the subtitles. I promise you, I got it. Even if they were way down here, like with like this much space, I would have been fine with that. So other than that, everything was awesome. The sound was great. The action was great. The suits are awesome. One of the things I love the most about it is that he did update it for a modern day kind of setting, sort of, but the suits are not that much wholesale different from what the original 1971 suits are. And I think that's a good thing. I think I would have been bothered if they would have updated them too much and had them like super armored and a bunch of flashy effects and whatever. Now, there are some pretty decent effects in the film, but everything in it, they clearly are like utilizing techniques from that time, using miniatures, the like, quick cut, like the like really cool, like zooming, repeat, fast forwardy type shots and things like that. And they use, of course, the original like soundtrack, and they've updated it a little bit and the music and stuff like that. So that makes it great too. But I love it. Like the updated suits are updated enough without losing the design identity of what original Ichigo and Nigo looked like. If you don't know, I mean, you should know because it's been a lot of the promotional stuff, but Nigo is also part of it, and I'll get to that later in the spoiler stuff, how he came into it and whatever. But overall, my experience was fan-fucking-tastic. It really was. It was an awesome, awesome day, an awesome premiere. The entire theater was packed full. There was not a single empty seat, and I even cross-checked just to be safe and looked on, like tried to buy a ticket, and it was completely sold out. Completely sold out, not a single ticket to be sold, and that was great. And I was so happy, and I hope that's how it was throughout the whole country at all the other showings. From what I've seen, it's kind of been the consensus, but I was really hoping for that. And what I liked too was the audience was so diverse. Like, not in just like the normal diverse of like, ethnically, but like there was men, there was women, there was boys, there was girls, there was some kids, there was not real young, but there was kids, there was just people I wouldn't, by looking at them, think, oh, they're probably a tokusatsu fan at all. And they were having a blast with it. And there was people in there, I could hear little conversations like, I've never even seen this show before, but holy shit, this stuff was really cool. And one thing I want to leave you guys on before we jump into the spoiler stuff that I loved was my friend Tyler and I were talking about it. He was talking about a certain thing that happens in the movie. I'm going to wait to talk about that. It's just a beautiful comment he made. But right now, about 8:15, 8:17 in, if you want to, definitely this is the point right now to click out of the video. Know that I loved my experience with it. But if you don't want any spoilers of it, of the plot, of the characters, things that happen, who dies, who lives, blah, 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 definitely jump out right now and you will not hear any of that, and come back maybe once you've had a chance to see it, either the day you saw it, the same day as I did on Wednesday, May 31st, or again this coming up Monday as we're recording this review. And now we can jump into the spoilers. Overall, I really loved this film from beginning to end. The plot was really, really good. I do agree with some people that I'm not the biggest fan of the pacing with it. I think the first quarter-ish of the movie or so was like not paced the right way as it flowed into the second part of it. I think most of the movie is paced really well. Like basically just after the wasp fight onward, awesome pacing, really great, peppy, keeps up, it's good, everything makes sense, totally with it. The first part of it, I'm with it because I love Rider, of course, and I love Ichigo. It's one of my favorite seasons, but it just was a little slower than I was expecting. So that's one little like kind of negative with it that I wasn't the biggest fan of. But a positive I was a fan of was the performance of the actor who played Hongo Takeshi, the actress who played Ruriko, and the actress who played Hayato Ichimonji. The actor, sorry. They knock it out of the fucking park. They both bring their own energy to it while not also betraying who those characters were, you know? Hayato kind of having this more flashiness and sure of himself, this more like bigger self-confidence, chip on his shoulder typeness to him. Whereas, Hongo has a more honorable, keeps to himself type thing. And I like that they didn't shy away from the body horror type thing and from the whole idea that he is like murdering these people that are part of Shocker, and that's kind of blood on his hands, literally. Like there's a part in the very beginning, it's a really beautiful scene where he tries to take the helmet off and you see him without the helmet while he's like transformed still technically, and his eyes are yellow and he's got these lines all over his face and he looks like a fucking monstrous mess, right? Before he learns he can press a certain button that releases all of the what's called prana, which is this life force energy that they use the belt is able to absorb through wind to help him transform. And I like that. I like that we focused on that. There's a lot of things in this that I feel like Anno took direct inspiration, not just from the original run of Kamen Rider Ichigo, of 71 Kamen Rider, but which ran, by the way, for 2 years straight, 71 to 73, by the way. Can you imagine that nowadays? A fucking season ran 2 years. Also 98 episodes. Anyway, so... but also the manga as well. The manga, which dealt with a lot more of the like deeper, darker psychological parts of it. Of this, kind of tortured soul who at the last second was pulled out of being brainwashed and is now permanently made this monster, if you will, this cybernetic thing that's not really human anymore. And instead of, turning it on himself to like end himself or just to give up and do nothing, decides to use these gifts given to him, bestowed upon him, to fight back against those who did it to him and to save other people from suffering the same fate. And they do a lot of that in this movie. There's a lot of little beats from the manga that are kind of picked up in this. The first quarter/half-ish of the movie does kind of feel like it condenses it like the first 13 or so episodes into the movie, which I was fine with. I wanted people to, I think it was a nice way to kind of get people up to speed in terms of, how Rider operates in general, like, hey, we have this certain monster, there's a certain thing, and blah, blah, blah. And in this, they kind of humanize them with the augments, right? The augments are our kaijin in this movie. And each one of them has their own little mini vignette throughout the movie. And overall, they're all pretty entertaining. We get the least, honestly, with Spider and Bat, or Komori augment, whereas Wasp and I guess Scorpion as well, but Wasp kind of steals the show in terms of like the augments and the fights with them and the stories. But I do like Spider and Bat setting up, basically showing you what Ichigo is capable of, what his power set is, how strong he is, and his struggle with himself, that when he gets going into this mode, that the helmet has a built-in, basically, kill mode that just increases his adrenaline to 100 and makes him a fucking killing machine. But it comes at the cost of not being in full control, which to me almost felt like a pseudo side reference, maybe it's just me, to like Berserk forms nowadays kind of a thing. But I like that. I like the humanity in this movie. That's a really strong part of it, is that, they talk about how happiness is only a stroke away from pain, and that to protect humanity, there's different ways of looking at it. Shocker thinks you protect humanity by perfecting them, by genetically enhancing them so that their flaws are just stripped away, pick them off and we're all good. Whereas Ichigo and Ruriko see things, and Hayato to an extent, see things differently. That we shouldn't be trying to, genetically modify people and forcibly change them to be the way we want them to be, because we feel as though we have some kind of deeper problem with humanity. So I really like that aspect of it. I think it did a really good job with that. I think the fights are really bombastic, and the action. There's a lot of use in the very first chase scene / fight sequence with like miniatures and stuff like that, and explosions and things of that nature, and I think that was really cool. And Ruriko, I don't believe was part, as far as I'm rewatching it right now just to make sure, but I don't think she was part of the original run of Ichigo in terms of like being a character in that, really. But I still liked her in the movie, that she's the daughter of the scientist who performed the surgery on Hongo Takeshi to make him into Takeshi Hongo, to make him into Kamen Rider, or Bata Augment 001 or whatever. So I like that a lot. And I like that a lot of the aesthetics for her, like what he looks like and how he has the motorcycle and whatever, comes from her dad and eventually her brother, which we'll get to him, being motorcycle enthusiasts, even having a scarf that she ends up giving one to him and to Hayato as well. And I like that, kind of like explaining sort of why these things work the way they do and why they're happening the way that they are. I think that's one thing the movie does really well too. Another really big strength is that it doesn't waste any time explaining things too much, but it does it enough to give you an idea of things that just weren't explained at all. Like, there's the goofy thing that I heard some people in our theater laughing at, which was when some of the augments die or some of the, shocker combatants die, they turn into bubbles and they just float away. Well, or they just like dissolve into the ground. Well, they talk about in the movie that that's a built-in thing for anybody affiliated with Shocker that happens so that they're not able to be captured and like interrogated or like any secrets be gained from like an autopsy or something like that. Whereas in the original show, when it happened, it just kind of happened. We just didn't really say anything about it. Same thing with how the powers work and the belt and everything. They, hyper explain a bit more about prana and that he's absorbing prana energy to like transform and everything, and then he has to let go of the excess energy of it to kind of revert back to a human form. And I like that. I think my favorite fight in it was probably definitely the Wasp augment fight, just because it eventually felt like it was ripped right out of manga pages, like anime. It was very well, CG animated, and the effects for that were really cool. And I like the setup before that, where Takeshi Hongo and Ruriko are walking in that city that the Wasp, augment is in control of. I'll get to that in a second. And they stop, and he goes, wait, stop. And he keeps looking behind himself as he's talking to me. He goes, stop. And the people behind him stop at the same time. And you find out that she's like controlling them like a colony because she's a wasp. She's controlling them like a wasp colony or a bee colony and forcibly like making them submit to what she wants them to do. And I think that's really cool. As was his fight with her. Her suit was really cool. All of the augments look really awesome. I bring this up again because I said it before. My good friend Tyler saw the movie with me, and when Komori augment flew away in his little like flapping wings, I get that it was supposed to be like a combination of like sort of what a bat looks like when it flies, and also trying to like, be referential towards like old school Showa era effects and like zero budget type thing. And it looked really goofy and everything. And I remember him mentioning me when we got in the car, he goes, I think what I love the most about the movie is there's goofy, stupid shit like the Komori, bat augment flying around like a fucking potato on a string. And then instantly before I could let that bother me, I remembered it was bookended by like 5 or 6 badass things. And then I was fine with it. And I was like, you just figured out the secret recipe to all tokusatsu, buddy, because that happens in Rider and Sentai all the goddamn time. That's why it's so entertaining, is it's fucking dumb, but then around it is so many badass things that you don't care about the fucking dumbness. It just becomes a thing to appreciate, an absurdity to just be happy about. And there are other little moments like that in this, where there's a moment where he meets up with these 2 agents who revealed later to be Taki and Tachibana, which I thought was really cool. They ask him if his legs have healed because he just got into a fight recently, and he does a backflip while they're talking before they can even wasn't asked to backflip. He just like randomly backflip. He's like, "Yep, they feel pretty good." Like he just goes back into talking, and it's silly shit like that that I think is good to have in there with the seriousness. My second point to talk about that I really want to hone in on is Hayato Ichimonji. I feel like a lot of people don't give him the credit he deserves as being the progenitor of the secondary rider archetype, and he is a presence in this movie. I do wish that he was introduced a little earlier. I do think it's a little goofy how Hongo and Ruriko are able to just go straight to where the big boss, her brother, is, Ichiro. And then all of a sudden he's like, well, I have this. And all of a sudden, Hayato comes out. But their fight, Hayato and Hongo's fight, is fucking cool. It's such a fucking cool-ass fight. Oh my goodness, it's so DBZ, it's not even fair. Like, there's like in the air and shit. There's a lot of use of the actual, I didn't notice this, but in the original show it's there too. The like printed on like wings on the back, that's part of the like biker jacket, that they're wearing. They use that in the movie, and I thought that was really cool. That leads into another fight with an augment, which I wasn't the biggest fan of, but then it leads into a part with Ruriko where she unfortunately, dies as part of the film. And I wasn't expecting that, actually. I really thought she was going to last longer, and I was saying to my friend Tyler before, like, wow, she's actually useful. Like, she's doing something in this movie. Sometimes the damsel or, like, female characters Just like in a lot of rider, if they're not a rider, they're useless and they don't do a whole lot. But they're doing a whole lot actually in this season. Or in this season, oh my god, that's so used to saying that. In the movie, she does quite a bit. She has her own technological augment abilities that she uses to kind of download things and hack into things and whatever. She's actually one that is able to affect the helmet Hayato is wearing to then break the brainwashing to get him on their side. Now, I do think that I wish it took a little longer to do that and that he didn't just right away go, yeah, cool, I'm helping you guys out. Also, I'm Master Rider number 2. Like, again, more of a slight pacing thing that I think could have been helped if they would have cut some time in the beginning of the movie a little bit out so it wasn't so slow and added that to portions like that where we could spend more time with Hayato and on some of the other characters and things that happen later on in the film. The brother character was decent. I was kind of surprised still about the butterfly augment, Masked Rider number 0 type suit he's wearing and everything. Clearly it was spoiled to most of us through the SH Figure Arts thing that I think Team Kamen Rider even retweeted, which I was like, thanks guys, cool to spoil the movie before it's even out. You're not even promoting the movie itself. I don't know what's going on there. But anyway, it's a cool ass fight, and I like how overpowered he is, and it makes sense. They talk about throughout the film how he's going to have a great capacity for prana and being able to absorb it and expel it and use it and blah blah blah. So it's a pretty intense fight, and I kind of like the way that Hongo, Hayato, and Rudeco to an extent are able to be the ones how they defeat the brother is really cool. The way that Rudeco is able to kind of get into his head through putting the helmet on him and everything, and get him to, calm down and back down a bit, and also, affecting, weakening his powers and all of that. I was not expecting Hongo to go, but I do like the slight side reference again to the manga that his consciousness was put into the new helmet that literally says Bata Augment 001 plus 002. That was cool. That was really fucking cool. I like that the helmet was definitely, the current idea of Ichigo with the silver helmet and everything. That's what it looked like. That was really cool as well, along with the suit changing a little bit too. So that was really great, and that final fight was great, and the movie's very brutal, and I think it works honestly because it just fits the tone. It doesn't ever feel like it shouldn't be that way, and it doesn't ever take you out of it, or at least it didn't take me out of it. And there's lots of rider kicks used. The fight choreography is great. The music is great. It's a remix of some of the old music along with some new music here and there. And overall, it's made with so much passion. This movie is made with so much passion and love. And I'm so honored and excited to say that I was able to see it. I have my ticket actually right here. Yep. Boom. Right there. I have it stuck to my Kamen Rider Kugo poster. And I'm not ever going to get rid of that. If I had the ability to, if it was single dad years, or not single dad, single Zach years before I had kids and was even married, I would go see it again on Monday. Absolutely. No question to ask. Another day off, go see it again. But overall, a goddamn-tastic film. Worth your every second of your time. Again, I do there are the negatives. Like I said, the pacing in the first part's a little wonky, and I do wish that there was some more time they could have added to stuff with Hayato. And I enjoyed the brother. I do feel like he was a little bit overpowered, but I do understand him being the final big bad guy, so it kind of worked. But overall, a fantastic film made with a lot of love, a lot of heart, and by somebody who clearly enjoys the medium, the genre, if you will, the style, and it fits right in with everything we've seen with the different seasons and films and whatever. It fits right into it. So, man, Team Kamen Rider, Toei, if you're somehow watching this video, for the love of Takeshi Hongo, I hope the ticket sales are enough that you guys actually consider making this a Blu-ray release we can get stateside with the English subtitles. I would absolutely buy it up, as would billions of fans in this country. We are here. We are huge fans. We have been for years and years and years and years. Just give us an outlet to be able to watch these shows, continue the physical releases, so that we can watch these shows and continue to support these seasons that we also love. It's not just your fan base in Japan. And by ignoring us and acting as though there is no Western Rider fan base, you're losing out on money as well. These stories are inspirational for a reason. These characters are timeless for a reason. And that's because that they resonate throughout history. It's not just right now. It's not just tomorrow or a few years ago. They resonate throughout history. Straight story I saw online is somebody who went to go see it, and a few seats away from them was somebody who brought his date with them, this girl with him. And there were certain parts she was laughing, but then when she got to the end of it where it showed the whole new, suit with the silver helmet and everything, she started gasping and was like, oh my God, that suit is beautiful. This is so cool. And that's the kind of like moments we need to be able to have. You know what I mean? I already myself pre-ordered Shin Ultraman. I'm going to find a way to get Shin Godzilla as well. I want to rent it first just to see it through Amazon Prime Video and then probably get it as well. But again, if Shin Kamen Rider is able to be released physically, Blu-ray, English subtitles, I'm there. Absolutely. I'm going to buy a copy. But review score-wise, I'm probably going to score it somewhere around an 8.5 out of 10. I think that's a pretty fair score. I absolutely loved it. I had some negatives here and there, but I don't think it was enough to sway it into being a garbage movie by any means. I think that your mileage will vary depending on what type of fan you are. If you're somebody who's watched every single season, knows what you're talking about, or if you're somebody who's never seen any of it and just is curious about it or kind of in between, your mileage may vary. But just go in knowing that it's a very unique and goofy and differently, oddly toned movie than what you're probably ever used to seeing before. But go in with an open mind, and I think you'll enjoy your time throughout. I did. My friend Tyler did, who hardly watches this stuff unless we hang out. So there's hope out there for people to have the same experience, to be able to watch these and not have seen a whole lot else and still have a good time with it. So, like I said, probably about 8.5 out of 10. I really enjoyed it myself. But let me know in the comments below, what did you guys think about Shin Kamen Rider? Did you guys love it? Did you hate it? Were you in the middle? Were you able to see it? How was your theater experience? Did you go with friends, by yourself? Did you go in cosplay? Did you bring a driver? How'd that go for you guys? Let me know in the comments below. Do you guys plan on seeing it the next time it's available on Monday or whatever? But as always, thank you for the likes, the comments, the views, subscribing, all of that very good stuff. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Content this week, King Oger, and of course, Geeks Reviews, like we normally do. And also, Henshins and Homies, we're going to be recording an episode with Mint Bari, talking about our favorite tokusatsu music, along with the our favorite gimmick items. But thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate the holiday, you guys, so much. Definitely see Shin Kamen Rider if you can. And until next time, stay hooked on heroes, and Henshin!